I'm here to give you a read straight from the hip with lots of lip. And we're going to get real weird tonight with some weird ass mystical shit on this Pisces full moon. This energy is really interesting. I'm sure you all have been dropping in on it and riding your own wave, but we're definitely getting ready to go through the pipeline that's going to take us into the new energy after a bit of a transitionary period, okay? But once we hit that Libra new moon on the 25th, we'll be coming around the bend and things are going to start looking a lot different, especially when Mercury goes direct back in the sign of Virgo. That kicked off this cycle with that Virgo new moon, right? And that happens on October 2nd. Okay, so that should be pretty interesting, right? As we're heading into Libra season, the energy starts moving forward again. So we're really on the karma cleanup crew here, okay? And that applies for all of us. Karma is really just like the work that we need to do, the things that we need to address in our lives. And in some cases, the work's going pretty deep right now. People are really doing a lot of generational healing, ancestral healing. We're healing from the programming, the programming, uh, the things that we were taught that were the way things are supposed to be, we're realizing need to be completely dismantled and that they got it all wrong along the way. And it's really interesting. This phrase came up in my head as I was dropping into the energy for this read. And what came through was 23 Skidoo. Now, 23 Skidoo is a really interesting phrase because it means a lot of things and nobody can really agree on one meaning. The most commonly held belief is that it means like scram, get out of here. But then there's also debate that it came from, um, a group of people trying to help a prisoner get away from the man, and so they hatched this plot that they would create some chaos, disorder, and confusion, and yell out 23, and they'd all, scram. They'd all scram about, and it would give the prisoner a chance to get away. But their plan was kind of foiled, didn't work out so well, and it ended up a big mess in the end. So that didn't work out so hot for those dudes, okay? And then there's also the take that it was said, way back when on construction sites when they wanted to get the guys all together at an advantageous spot to be able to check out the chicks walking by, look up their skirts, all right? And what I'm really getting from this message coming in is that it's all of it, all of those things are in play, with this lunar cycle and with this full moon. There is the, confusion. Nobody can agree on the way something is. Everybody sees something differently. There's a lot of different perspectives out there, and people very much aren't necessarily on the same page, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with it is the resistance to it, the inability for people to allow people to have their own perspectives, this need to control, there's a lot of this, and has continued to be this push-pull energy that's in the astro climate, I feel like we're coming through the other end of that though, but with Uranus, in play, and with so many planets in retrograde, and with Libra hosting the retrograde that just kicked in today with this Pisces full moon, it's a lot of review action. It's a lot of going over old ground. It's a lot of looking at things in a new way. It's a lot of gaining different perspectives and revisiting things from the past, certainly, revisiting things from the deep past, having deep subconscious stuff coming to the surface, rising to the surface, Look for dream life to be really active. I'm getting that very strongly. A lot of material surfacing in dreams. You know, tune in to the works of Carl Jung. He's got a lot of, you know, good guidance for the terrain that we're moving through right now. Yeah, you see, it's actually brilliant. You know, sometimes when things are upside down, they're actually right side up. And sometimes when you're going backwards, you're actually getting forward momentum. You know, like an example of that is Michael Jackson, right? At that American Music Awards, that iconic moment when he went into the backslide, right? He went into the backslide. People called it moonwalking, you know, but he wasn't moonwalking, man. He backslid across the stage. That was the moment. That was the moment. Michael was an amazing, phenomenal dancer. So is Janet, okay? Just so gifted in the dance department. But everybody always says, oh, when he moonwalked. No, man, he didn't moonwalk. But he can moonwalk. He can moonwalk like a motherfucker. I bet he's still out there moonwalking. He's probably moonwalking on that Pisces full moon right now. I can totally see it. I can envision it. I can envision it, you know? And he's kind of like, I don't know, I got Michael's energy coming in right now. And it's almost like he's saying, you know, you can move backwards and it'll catapult you forward sometimes. You know, sometimes there's a loose end, there's something you need to, you know, you need to complete correctly. I feel like this is the karmic stuff, you know, and it's everybody's lot. You know, there's no one that is immune from this energy that's in play right now. We all have things that we need to review. We all have things that we are reflecting on. We all have things that we need to follow through with or bring to a completion or release, you know, things that we need to tell to scram, you know, maybe we need to scram, maybe we need to get on out of there. Oh, there was another definition of that 23 Skidoo too. Another definition is we're about to have a really good time, you know. They would use it when they would like bar hop, go out, you know, all the Bowery boys, you know, would go out for a night on the town and have some fun. And, you know, they would, you know, say 23 Skidoo, you know, and then we're going to have ourselves a time, you know. So it's like this energy is all there, you know. It's sort of like with uh, that wild card charge of Uranus in the mix, and with the heat and volatility of Mars in play, and also with Venus, you know, the way Venus had been aspected just coming into this cycle. Venus was more in war mode, you know, more like Aries and Libra energies kind of got on the same page, like raging for order kind of energy, you know. There's more fierce side to Venus. Venus isn't all love and beauty. Let's not forget that Libra is called the iron fist in a velvet glove. Okay, don't get it twisted, man. There's definitely that duality of energy there, and that Libra energy is very frequently misunderstood. Very frequently misunderstood. It's seen as cloying almost. People have this idea of Libra being very cloying and only caring about pretty things and just kind of trite. And that's actually not Libra at all. Libra is very much about holding that balance of shadow and light, being able to be the center point in that shadow and light, being aware of the shadow, understanding the value of the shadow, because we gain our medicine, we gain our wisdom, we gain our, you know, our chops through the time in the shadow, you know. And if you're informed about your shadow, then you're able to make discerning choices about where you want to come from in your life, how you want to carry out actions. Uh, that Libra energy is wise judgment, and the judgment is arrived at by being able to see clearly both sides, you know, being able to see clearly both sides. And the reason why Libra energy deliberates for a while, we do have this retrograde, you know, Mercury retrograde coming in this Libra energy. So this is significant, you know. The reason why Libra takes time isn't out of confusion and not ditziness, not knowing what to do. It is weighing things very mindfully because there is a consideration for what is fair, what is just. And so there is a lot of this weighing going on. There's going to be a lot of this weighing. You're going to be weighing up your choices in your life. You're going to be weighing up, you know, your moves up to now. Did you go in the direction that, you know, really paid off for you? You know, how's it working for you? How are things looking now? You know, maybe there's a need to kind of go back and do things differently, take a different step. You know, sometimes it's helpful to go back. You can be just like Michael, you know, and you can do that backslide and have it catapult you, you know, forward. Maybe there was something you lost in the past, something you left behind. Maybe there was a connection that was missed or something that needed to go down. So there's this big piece coming through right now, though, that there are things leaving, okay? Like space is going to be made. There's a new chapter opening. This is kind of like the line in the sand. This is going to be a demarcation point. There's a big shift in how we're all moving forward collectively from this point. Life's going to feel very different after this cycle. When we get things kicking off with that Libra new moon on the 25th, things are going to start to feel very different. And all of us, you know, we're all riding this wave together. You know, what we're doing is we are turning around this energy. We got this infinite cosmic mess, okay? Like I said, karmic cleanup crew. We're cleaning shit up, you know, and we're all stepping up into this place of responsibility. You know, we're looking at our part, you know, where we need to, you know, get it together. You know, that Saturn energy that's in play is what can be an anchoring point, you know. And Saturn doesn't have to be just used in the sense of feeling restricted or penned in. It can be like kind of more of a straightening by fire kind of energy. It can be more about taking accountability and you know, making wise choices, looking realistically at things, doing what needs to be done, you know, and that's healthy. That's healthy. And so there's a lot of you are in this process, you know. Maybe you've been involved in an infinite cosmic mess. Maybe you got a situation where there's a lot of people involved and nobody can get on the same page. And, you know, it's been confusing up to now, but there's this energy coming in and this review, right, with everything that's in retrograde. It gives us the opportunity to redress that balance, you know, with that Libra energy, to redress that balance, to maybe understand the experience from a different perspective, maybe understand it from a different point of view, you know. And it's like from there, once you've kind of done this cleanup work, you're going to find out what really nourishes you, okay, with this skeleton eating a banana. You know, in some cases, some of you are going to realize that you've been fixated on something from the past that you thought would, you know, uh, be sort of like the answer to everything that went awry, as long as you could resolve this or reconnect with this person or, you know, revisit an experience that you felt was cut too short. And you're going to realize in the end that, you know, no, this was actually good to move away from this because this didn't really give me what I was looking for. You know, it always left me hungry for more. You know, it didn't really fulfill me. In some cases, you know, you're going to realize how much you've been denying yourself by being stubborn, you know, having too much pride, not being willing to reach out, connect with someone, say you're sorry, want to open up lines of communication. And you're going to realize that you've been starving yourself of what you really needed to turn around all these, you know, messy feelings, all these chaotic feelings that you've been trying to contain and hold in, but they're going to be spilling forward to the surface with this Pisces full moon energy. You know, we got a lot of watery energy coming in. And here's where things come into a place of challenge, okay? Because when we're really feeling our emotions, okay, this is the instinct card here, we can go into that reptilian brain. And the reptilian brain is all about survival, going into survival mode where you feel like you need to protect yourself, and it can have you making decisions from a place that uh, only is invested in like fight or flight. And so there's that 23 Skidoo message. This might be a time, especially with the volatility of energy in play, where you might see some people just like take off, You might deal with some ghosting, some of you out there. All of a sudden, somebody's just like, you know, leaves you hanging, and maybe because things were getting a little too deep, maybe because the feelings were a little raw, maybe there was a lot of vulnerability, and that person just has to bail, man. They have to 23 Skidoo. It's a little too much. It doesn't make them feel safe. They don't know how to open up to that energy. Yeah, this could be with like that real kind of alpha male type dude. We got the beefcake here, this need to keep up these appearances, like I got it all together. Look at that Ace of Cups coming in there. This is drawing down energy with the Ace of Cups. I do think somebody is going to be like coming forward. There is some Mr. Beefy coming forward that has a little, he has a little something to offer. I think he's got a wand to offer. He looks like he's working with something there, but we do see this death card here. And what I really feel like the death is, this person, okay, this is coming in for somebody. I'm going to go with this message. This person, like, they value all the things that are superficial, and what they can't see is like what's deeper than that, what's behind that. They think it's all about this. They think it's all about how they look. They think it's all about the sexuality, the being really macho, the coming off like this. But, I'm feeling like people who are moving forward like this, where they're placing all the value on superficiality at this time, they're really going to find they're going to get like ego death in these kind of situations, because we're being called to go deeper than that. We're being called to go deeper than that. Look at this eye imagery. I love this. I love this. Look at this eye imagery. It's like there's a purification needed here. Look at this. It's man pouring water on an eyeball. This right here, right here. I'm getting big Aquarius vibes, like the water bearer. It's like making the vision clear, understanding that beauty really truly is in the eye of the beholder, and how are you, how are you viewing beauty? Is it based on these kind of superficial appearances, or are you looking for something deeper? I think, there is a lot of this energy of sort of shedding superficialities and taking things to the next level. I swear, every time I, I work with this deck, this fucking card comes out. Ooh, okay, and this might have gotten some of you in trouble, in the past. This might have gotten some of you in trouble. And I say that because we got the penis weasel, okay, coming in with the parasitic fruit. All right. Now, I'm really getting a message here, where it's like maybe that's what seemed, appealing at one point. Maybe it was more about like this sort of game of conquest, you know, just getting some hot action. Maybe this was something that made you feel like you were, still got it. I still got it. I bagged another one. This kind of mentality. I mean, I'm really picking up this sort of machismo, kind of energy, but I feel like there's some kind of transformation going on here in a lot of the men who maybe have felt a lot of pressure to present themselves in that way, because this is the programming, right? And we're trying to wash, wash our vision clear, look at things a new way. We need to clear out that programming, and it's almost like being put under this hypnotic spell of all the media and all the false projected images of what is considered ideal, or what means you're a man, or this energy really forward, and this need to clear away these concepts. And I think this has a lot to do with, there's this opening, there's this opening of the heart, this triangle, the way it's drawing down, this is like half of a yantra. And the yantra, in this position, it's all about drawing down from above. So I feel like there's this new kind of consciousness coming forward in the masculine, that it's really about, no, it's strong to be able to feel what I feel. And I want to be able to go deeper. I want to connect deeper. And there's almost this divide between the masculine and the feminine, where remember, we got this Aries, Libra, Mars, Venus action going on. So these kind of dynamics come into play. There's almost this vibe coming through really strong that, the problem is that, then on the other side, you have the feminines that, they're trying to be so strong. I got to be strong. I got to be hard. I got to, I got it all handled. I don't need you. I'm an independent woman, So you have this like polarity shift, but it's still a fucking polarity. Instead of it just being, you can be all of it, you can be strong and independent and still soft and within your feelings and able to give and receive love, express yourself emotionally. Like, you have to get out of this like myopic way of viewing situations and move into greater expansion. That's what Pisces is asking of us, and I think that this has come forward more in the consciousness. There's been a bit of ego death. I mean, some of you that, have been all about just like the conquest, some of you may have been in relationships, and with this parasitic fruit piece here, that apple, tempted by the fruit of another, it didn't taste so good in the end. You found it was a rotten apple. I see this really as a need to free yourself from the attachment of the need to have these, sexual conquests as a way to, determine your value or define your masculinity, define your strength as a person, your power, and how it can sabotage, how it can work against you, It's like always chasing the apple, always chasing that thing that you can't have. That's what you desire. And when you get it, you're just hooked in again, because it's never good enough. It's never satisfying. It's not what you're looking for. It leaves you in this place. It leaves you in this place where, you're feeling starved. Look, it applies to you too, feminines, with those bananas, it's the same thing, it's just like always this chase, but it's like, you're never going to find in another what you're looking for until you first discover it inside of yourself. And that's what it's all about, man. And you got to go deeper. You got to go deeper to access that. You can't just bob along the surface. That Pisces energy won't allow us to bob along the surface, We have to remember that, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. So that's when we can go to the real deep spaces, it's really that essence of diving down to the bottom of things, And when you dive down there, it can be murky at times, you might not be able to see clearly. You're kind of in unknown territory. Everything can be foreign. Sometimes it's illusory. Sometimes we play tricks on ourselves when we start really getting in touch with our subconscious motivations, But then we also have the Jupiter energy also, Pisces, other ruler, Jupiter. So that makes everything so much bigger, so much more expansive. And we got that action going backwards right now, So everything that had happened before and everything that was in the past. It's almost like it's been given this like starring role in our lives where it's always this reflecting back. It's the chase. It's the chase. You're either chasing something in the past or you're chasing something in the future. And it reminds me of that Cure song, The Forest, It's the same thing. It's always the same again and again and again and again and again. And it's like, can we break that tradition? Can we break that tradition? Can we break the tradition of constantly going back to what we know doesn't serve us, And can we instead, do things a different way? Can we do things a different way? I feel like there's the need for people to get really innovative, to do those things that they're scared to do. This kind of an astro climate, it really supports people shaking it up, working with that rebellious, unconventional energy of Uranus and not being stupid about it, okay? Like still employing the wisdom of Saturn and the lessons that have been learned and, the need to, not lose your fucking head in the process, okay? That was another meaning of 23 Skidoo as well. There was a Tale of Two Cities. They counted the heads as the heads were cut off on the guillotine and reached the 23 heads lost. They were just called out 23. Yeah, you don't want to lose your head, okay? You don't want to lose your head. The bird book snake thing. It's so funny because in all my readings lately, there has been this piece of opposites and elementals coming forward. First I had a reading, it's another weird way of reading where the hippocampus came in, and the hippocampus is, half horse, half fish, so of land and sea. And now we have this here, the bird book snake thing. Okay, so snake is like land, and then we got the air, as above, so below, and normally, it's like one or the other, but we're kind of being asked to have a foot in both of those worlds, right? So this is about us learning how to kind of ride that hedge, do some Merc riding. We're getting into this like deeper knowledge cycle here where things are going to start waking up in our consciousness. For those of you who are the risk takers out there, for those of you who are ready to do things in an unconventional way, an experimental way, it's going to start blowing your minds and it's going to start activating, dormant parts of your consciousness. And this is going to bring forward, a whole new way of moving through the world. Or, you can choose to stick with the old way and you're fucked. You can continue to stay focused on the wound, the way you were hurt, the things that have held you back. But that's all you're going to get is just more pain, more of the same. You're not going to move beyond this energy. There's a lot of snake energy coming in here. Okay. Bird book snake thing. Look at this snake wrapped around the leg. Look, 1 foot going backwards. This is the fucking problem. This is what keeps you stuck in the pain. If you keep nursing the past, then you're always going to, be stuck in the pain. There's a point when you have to put it behind you. There's a wise man once said to me, so what? So what? What are you going to do about it? So what? Everybody has gone through pain, and everybody has some kind of trauma. Some of us have really intense, deep trauma, been dragging around that trauma our whole life since we were little kids, But there comes a point when it's necessary to not continue to focus on the trauma, to focus on the pain, because it keeps you from being able to move forward. You stay stuck, one foot in the past, one foot heading toward the future. There's that duality again. You know, there's a need to learn how to transcend this energy with that as above, so below, you know, learning to find the way that you can transcend the time loop, that you can time hop, that you can get into a new sort of mindset where you're not in the past anymore, you're not in the present, you are straddling the line. That's what the present moment is. If you can bring your consciousness into the present moment, you will find it very easy to Merc ride. You will find it very easy to have a foot in both worlds, and you will recognize the present moment for what it is as the alchemical point of transformation. That's when you can turn everything around. That's when the magic happens. This is when the hidden knowledge opens up inside of you, you know? Mm-hmm. 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 Look at this full moon energy, the coffin full of tacos, full of snakes. Okay. I mean, snakes and tacos, this is very sexual. This is very sexual energy to me tonight. Sometimes it means something different to me, but this is what's coming through. It's really been a big piece, like the way that we can, you know, have so many chords. This is what I'm getting. So many chords plugged into us, you know, from just sharing our energy with so many people. And, you know, these can become, you know, painful attachments in and of themselves. You know, sometimes these energies can really linger in our energy body. You know, people forget about this piece about when you're intimate with somebody, it's very easy to kind of get corded into each other unintentionally. And that's how you get those, you know, those attachments, those cords of attachments. In some cases, you know, there's a need to dead this energy. If you know that you got an unhealthy attachment, and maybe there was a lot of like sexual chemistry, maybe the sexual chemistry was the hook. Maybe for some of you, you know, because this is the weird way, you know, maybe some of you, you know, you used to do a little sex magic, you know, maybe you used to do a little sex magic with your partner, something you two did together, but it really kind of, you know, fused your energy together in such a way that it's like this codependent link now. I feel like there's a need to like do cord cutting, you know, pulling that shit out at the root, you know, doing some ritual work around clearing out energy from your sacral chakra, you know, from Svadhisthana, clearing out that energy that should not be in your energy body, you know, because it drains your vitality. You know, those of you who are dealing with issues like this, you may have noticed that you've had a lot of creativity blocks. Maybe it's been hard for you to manifest things in your life. Maybe you've been feeling stuck, you know, you've been doing all the things and you've been trying to open up, you know, new beginnings in your life, get new things going. And you've kind of felt like you've just been held back, you know, like you're stuck in this like bardo, hanging out at the crossroads, waiting for things to move forward. A lot of times when there's this courting, this sexual courting, since it's tapped into the sexual center, you know, that sacral chakra, you know, the second chakra, it can be a blockage to you being able to create, you know, and you need that center open. That's how you birth new things into being. You work with the energy from your second chakra there. And it's all about that womb space, okay? It's all about that womb space. So there's an interesting piece though with the tacos too, aside from the sexual reference. But with the tacos, I'm also getting that it's good with cord cutting to also be mindful of the digestion. Like all of these pieces play in with each other. And if you create a hospitable environment for parasites, let's just look at it this way, physically, you know, if you were eating a bunch of junk, uh, it just creates a hospitable environment for parasites. Not saying you have physical parasites, okay, but energetical parasites. So look at it the same way, because it's this mirror, right? There's all this mirrored expression going on right now with just how the energy is playing out. So cleaning up your diet, being more mindful of your diet, maybe, getting things moving out of the belly, giving yourself a little bit of a, like kind of a digestive cleanse. It can also help in the process of clearing out these energetic cords of attachment, because you're now creating an inhospitable environment for parasitic energy. It's absolutely a template. Like the body is a template for what's going on energetically, what's going on emotionally, what's going on mentally. It's all mirrored. So I'm getting this piece too, like really look at where do you need to kind of take better care of yourself, nurture yourself better. And that nurturing too is not only around food, but also around your connections with others, how you're connecting with people sexually. Are you feeling nurturing sexual connections? Are you having this experience where you feel satisfied on that level sexually? This piece is coming in. This piece is coming in. So a lot of interesting stuff here. Yeah, and we got the greased priest here. So there's so much coming through with this Pisces full moon energy that's really about sort of dismantling the conditioning and moving into a new perspective. There's just such big expansive energy on offer. And even though Jupiter is retrograde, it's kind of like bringing that expansive view to the past. So again, it's like learning how to work with this energy in the right way. Let that be highlighted, where you can really view the past in a different way, as if it's playing out on the big screen. You're going to notice things that you didn't notice before. Looking back to the past, we can better understand how we've arrived where we are now. And when I'm speaking on that level, I'm speaking like collectively, on a global level, in terms of humanity, how we've arrived at this juncture. There's value in getting a very expansive view of the past that can work for us. Then we know what needs to be mended. Then we know the work to be done. Then we know our personal work, our piece in that, what we need to take accountability for to make those changes. And there's a lot about unlearning and dismantling these structures that have been put in place to really keep us contained. And that's why there's this push-pull energy. It's convention fighting against revolution, and evolution. There's the desire for comfort, but we're being asked to move into the discomfort and not to see it as something that's negative, but actually this really like radical opportunity to experience it was 39 on the clock when I said that, a radical new dimension of being, of envisioning our lives, of living our lives. Do we really want to stay stuck with the way things have been? We need to change shit, man. And a change begins with us, but collectively, man, we need to get our shit together. We need to get our shit together. There's a better way. There's a better way. And this is what's happening with this wave that's coming in, this wave of consciousness, raising stimulus. That's what I want to call it. Okay. You're going to be given plenty of opportunities this lunar cycle to raise your consciousness. And it's going to come through things that are going to fucking irritate you. It's going to come through things that push your buttons. It's going to come through things that trigger the fuck out of you. It's going to come through things that you don't want to look at. It's going to come through things that make you terribly uncomfortable. And the more that you can learn how to just be comfortable, just be with it, to not personalize, what others say, what their views are. Just be in this space of witnessing, listening, observing, and resisting that urge to like 23 Skidoo and just beat it. There's Michael again. I don't know why Michael's coming in, but Michael is coming in. But what was the message of beat it, right? It was like, don't fight, man. Don't fight. That doesn't make you a man, you know? That doesn't make you strong. It doesn't mean you're somebody, you know, when you fight. You know, it's not about being a coward. Sometimes what's really hard to do is to love, right? That's what we're so scared of. Anybody can throw their weight around. Anybody can go fisticuffs. You know what I'm saying? But how many of you can really like let your heart be bare? How many of you can show up, you know, transparently and like let yourself be seen exactly as you are? I mean, that's the work. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's about dropping this fucking posturing, you know? Dropping this posturing, the pit bull driving a tiny truck, you know? There's so much of this like macho energy coming forward. And I have to say it's probably because the way this cycle got kicked off with the Mars being square, that new moon in Venus, you know, it really, new moon in Venus. Not new moon in Venus. I meant to say new moon in Virgo, but we do have a Venus Virgo, you know, action going on too. So all of this is coming into play. There's like this sort of melding together of the Venus and the Mars energy. It's starting to get a little hard to decipher who's who around here. But you know, there's this need to move out of this energy, this kind of like I'm real tough, you know, and this need to have this kind of posturing and this ego shit, you know, this ego shit, you know, because it's funny. Normally, you see the real like macho guy, you know, always has the big truck, right? But this is a tiny truck. This is a tiny truck. So it's kind of like saying, you know, drop the shit, you know, drop that posturing. And I think there is a lot of this about just posturing in different ways and being satisfied for the illusion, with the illusion of, you know, kind of what's sold to us as being the ideal to, you know, have lots of conquest, to keep up appearances, to have the finer things in life. It's about what we have. It's about how we look. It's about, you know, the pursuit of really things that at the end of the day only create a bunch of mess in our lives, don't really satisfy us, don't really fulfill us. And I feel like if I had to think of a tarot card that just totally captures the energy that's in play right now, I would say it's the Eight of Cups. And that's sort of the energy that is hanging over the collective right now. This energy of I've invested so much of my time, my heart, my presence in things that I realized at the end of the day are not where it's at. And it's the ego that wants to hold on and continue to whip the dead horse. It's the ego and the unhealthy sense of pride that wants to just resist what needs to be released. But it's that letting go that actually allows you to start moving forward toward what will really fulfill you emotionally, spiritually, because that's what the Eight of Cups is about. The Eight of Cups is about that moment of choice where you choose to go with the path that has heart. You know, it's just like Carlos Castaneda said in his book. You know, was it in Journey to Ixtlan, I think maybe, where there was a big discussion. You know, about um, choose the path with heart. Choose the path with heart. You know, any path is just a path, you know, but one has you really filled with joy and what I like to really think of as enthusiasm, you know, enthusiasm. When was the last time you felt enthusiastic about your life? When was the last time you felt enthusiastic about your work? When was the last time you felt enthusiastic about uh, your future? And if you can't think of the last time you felt really enthusiastic about something, then it's really time to discover what are you investing your time, your energy, and attention is that's robbing you of that. Because that's like feeding something that's outdated, that's keeping you stuck in a holding pattern. We're being asked to go for the fuck yes right now, not the maybe, not the, you know, this'll do. We're really being asked to connect with our enthusiasm to move into this energy, because it's this energy that's going to turn shit around, you know, not just in our own lives, but also collectively, you know, also collectively. This guy always shows up too. The former child star. Okay. Again, it's that energy of the past, you know, looking back at the past. Some of you might have been, you know, really feeling like you needed to reclaim your youth. Some of you may have been struggling with like midlife crisis or some shit. You know, maybe you've been glorifying your past and the way things used to be in your youth and your mind, you know, but if you really look at it, if you really think about it, there were also a lot of things that you know, were very restrictive back then, you know, ways that you weren't free to kind of chart your own course. And, you know, you can still be a kid at heart, man. You can still go out there and be enthusiastic about life and go for what will really make you happy, and not be stuck in these roles that, you know, your parents put on you, or your teachers put on you, or the authority figures in your life put on you from a very young age, that maybe you're still fucking lugging that shit around. Maybe you're still wearing that shit like a fucking framework, you know? And it's time to, you know, take it apart, throw that shit on the ground, you know? Pour some gasoline on it and light a match to it, you know? Burn down all those limitations that were put on you. Burn that bridge. You don't need to go back there. You know, you can be free. You can be free and you can move forward in a new dynamic way. But there is this piece that's really coming in right now, and I got this download that something's going to be leaving. You know, there's going to be a 23 Skidoo, and I want you to enter a place of radical trust when it does. Even if it's really hard to believe that anything good could come out of this thing leaving your life. I want you to just have this radical trust that it's the best fucking thing that ever could have happened for you. Because truly, it's that kind of energy in play. Things are lining up in such a way that you're being taken to, you know, the appropriate juncture point where you can catch your connecting train, that's going to take you to your next destination where your new story unfolds. It does require that you move away from some old things. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. For some of you, it will be. For some of you, um, a chapter with somebody who played a very important role in your life is coming to a close. And that might be, quite a heavy transition. And it also may feel scary. Maybe it's been a long time that you've been with this person. Maybe you're nervous about stepping out on your own again. Maybe you have all these old ideas, this bullshit that's been put on you, the programming again, like, oh, I'm too old. I'm never going to find someone now, or I'm too fat. Nobody's going to find me attractive, or I'm too this, I'm too that. I don't have enough money. No woman's going to want me. I hear this from men all the time. They're really worried about the money piece, and it's like, if they're worried about that, they're not the right one, man. Like, hey, why don't you start using it as like a fucking litmus test? If you're dealing with somebody who, doesn't know how to generate their own stability, maybe you need to rethink that. I don't know. It's just a thought. It could save you a lot of trouble, man. I don't know. Like, don't play the game, but some people will be letting go of, a good friend, a lover, spouse. And that can come through in many different ways. Some of you will be leaving behind an identity, something's going to come. It's really going to shift your perspective and awaken something that you were not in touch with before, and it changes everything. Some of you are going to be realizing that you are not who you were supposed to be when you grew up, and you're going to be heading in a totally different direction that you never anticipated heading in. And all of this may come through reversal, but these reversals turn out really lucky if you're able to stay in the right space with it, which is just presence and allowing and trusting yourself, and trusting that you've been through this shit. You've been through this shit before, right? Something ends and a new beginning always comes. We know that. Everything's fluid, man. And that's the good thing about fluidity. It's not fixed, okay? So the way things are, when something, rotten goes down, it doesn't stay that way. Eventually the energy switches up, it changes, and new things come into view, new things come into view. You got to just be willing to roll the dice, take some risks, take your lessons with you. Don't lose your head. Go with your gut, though, man. Go with the path that has heart. And that's no matter what you're dealing with, whether you're dealing with a career situation, a family situation, a romantic situation, what you're healing, whatever you're challenged with. Go with what feels right in your heart. Go with the path of heart. Go in the direction that's going to make you feel enthusiastic about life again. Because if you're not feeling enthusiastic about life, man, it's time to 23 Skidoo. You need to scram. You need to get out of wherever you're at that's bringing your energy down like that, so you can get back to doing what you're here to do, which is really just like sampling from this garden of earthly delight, everything that is so wonderful, so gratifying, and makes living where it's at, right? Go connect with that energy and enjoy these full moon vibes. It's feeling pretty good to me. I'm liking this energy coming in. And I just want to get one more card here. I'm just going to pick it random. A mean card. It's perfect. Yeah. This is where we're at. Okay. This is where we're at. Look at that. It's like those pictures. You remember those pictures? Only Gen Xers are going to know what I'm talking about. You remember those pictures from back in the day where you'd get them at school and it'd have the, you know, the dual image of you like in the background? you know? I think there's going to be a lot of this kind of action going on. I think there's going to be a lot of, again, put in both worlds. You're sort of like straddling the divide right now. You all are doing a bit of that shamanic work where you're integrating. You're really integrating your past and where you're at right now. And this is the thing that once you find the point of connection, and how these two things can merge in such a way that makes you feel enthusiastic about life again, that's when you're really going to find your way through. That's when the future direction opens up. There's something about this. There's something about the past comes full circle because this lunar cycle started with Virgo, right? Virgo, new moon, okay? And it ends with a Libra new moon, okay? But Mercury retrograde, Mercury is Virgo's ruler, okay? So here there's the Libra Virgo dynamic going on here too, okay? So where does the Mercury go direct as Libra season starts with that new moon? Virgo, okay? So there's this coming full circle energy, and there's also the coming full circle, the revisiting of the past and bringing it back around and looping it in the present. It brings balance. So trust whatever goes at this time. Trust what leaves. It's everything that you need to happen in order for you to get to the other side and get to that place of yes in your life where you understand what it was all about and you'll be glad for it. You'll be glad for it. Mark my words. Sit in reflection a bit. Go ahead and use this time to look back, look back, reflect. What would past you tell you now? If past you was looking at who you are right now, how you're living your life, what would past you say to you? That's a great one. Maybe your past does have something to tell you. Maybe your past does have something to tell you. Think back to who you were back in the past. I'm going to give you an assignment, collective, okay? Think back to who you were when you feel like you were like, yeah, man, that's when I was the shit. That's when I was the shit. Think back to who you were back then and let that person do a little writing. Let them write what they think of you now, how they see you right now, where you're at. Let them give you some advice and see what comes forward with that and put it into play. Why the hell not? See what happens. Take a risk. It could be fun. Or it could be an infinite cosmic mess, but hey, at least 23 Skidoo, you're going to have some fun while you're doing it. Take care and thanks for dropping in with me. See you soon.